week. Obviously, she wishes she could be here to speak on this specific incident. Commissioner Carter and Lieutenant Kyle Gouch are here to speak about what happened and try to answer any questions that you and the community may have. So without further ado, Commissioner Tom Carter.
Hello, good afternoon. Yesterday on the 13th at approximately 17:39 hours, up on 4th Street, Woodbine and 4th, we had shots fired in the 2100 block of North 4th Street. There was a crowd of people out there, and a person or persons fired into a crowd where there were adults and young kids. Upon hearing the shots, people fled. Police were in the next block. They arrived on location within 30 seconds. Upon arriving, they located an unknown female who had been hit by gunfire. They rendered first aid, called a medical unit. The young lady, Tanisha Miller, black female, 19 years old, was taken to a local hospital. She was worked on. She succumbed to her injuries. The investigation started at that incident. We locked down the whole area. We located numerous casings. I don't know how many times she was struck, but we have videotape with sound on it, and you could hear several gunshots going off. I believe that she was hit in her left side. The bullet entered on the left side, and I believe it exited, and my lieutenant here, correct me if I'm wrong, it exited her right side, so it was a through and through wound. It was a severe wound, obviously, a wound that couldn't be fixed. Upon examination of Ms. Miller, it was learned that she was pregnant. She, I believe, approximately 5 months pregnant, and both the fetus and the young lady succumbed to the injuries. The investigation is ongoing right now. We are getting some information, some leads, but not enough that's going to give us what we need to be able to locate the shooter or shooters. My detectives in uniform have been out all night. They're back up there in the area trying to locate witnesses. We did have one witness down here yesterday, but that didn't really work out at that time. Hopefully things will change later on. So it seems very mundane or very easy or very simple or a robotic gesture for me to say that it's a tragedy. I am so sick and tired of saying that it's a tragedy. Yes, it's a tragedy, but how are we going to stop this? Yesterday, we had a whole detail out with my street crimes unit. We had the state police out, and we had my street crimes unit working side by side to stop incidents such as this, stop these random shootings. And they were 30 seconds off. They were in the right neighborhood, but just 30 seconds off. 30 seconds off. We are trying, but this hurts. Every homicide in the city hurts, but this really hurts because you have a 19-year-old female who was pregnant that was gunned down. I can't say that she was the target or anything like that, but who in their right mind would just shoot into a crowd of people where there are little kids at? Little kids, little helpless kids out there playing on a nice day. and you just shoot into a crowd of people. Harrisburg, we have to stand up. We have to solve this here, and the police cannot do it by themselves. I am asking you, anybody with information, any information, because when it comes to a homicide, it's like a puzzle. Every little bit helps. You know, we fit pieces together. I'm asking you, please, 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 on behalf of the unborn child, on behalf of the unborn child, can we please do something about this here? I'm getting sick and tired of seeing monuments up there. You know, she was beloved by her friends. They're up there putting up flowers and balloons and everything right now. But when is this going to stop? And the police cannot do it by themselves. So I'm asking for anybody with information, please come forth. The information that you give is confidential. Your name will not be put out there. But let's bring this person or persons to justice responsible for this here horrible, horrible, horrible tragedy. Thank you. You have anything to answer?
I'm not sure about questions. If anybody has any questions, we may be able to cover a couple. Real quick, obviously the case is,
Go ahead.
take over the mic.
Go ahead.
The case is very much so still on the onset of the investigation. We're less than 24 hours in. There's still a lot of information that the detectives are trying to go through, as well as a lot of things we're trying to, as the commissioner put it out, put the puzzle together, pieces of the puzzle together. I may be able to take a couple questions, but it's gonna be very, very limited and not a lot of detail. So I do apologize, but understand the integrity of the investigation is paramount.
Lieutenant, is there a reason to believe that Miller was possibly a target in this case? I know there were a lot of people out there.
Right. I think it'd be premature to indicate whether, or for me to elaborate whether we believe she was targeted or not. Nothing indicates at this point in time that she was the intended target, but again, that's still part of the puzzle we're trying to put together. But there was a lot of people out there. As the commissioner pointed out, there's video to a certain extent of some of that area, and we know for a fact there was a significant amount of people out there, and we've gotten not a lot of people to come forward. So again, we are asking people to help us to put somebody in, you know, not necessarily in custody, but to bring some form of justice to this family and to the people that have suffered in reference to this incident.
What does it say that somebody would go ahead and start opening fires in this situation? There were kids outside. We were in the neighborhood yesterday. There were kids outside playing in that area. There were a lot of people out and about.
Right. Now there was a couple toddlers, you know, a couple 3, 4-year-old kids just legitimately right there where this happened, right where the gunfire was being discharged in the direction of. And I mean, I can't articulate on camera what I think of these individuals. I think you can probably paraphrase in your head what I'm thinking. But nonetheless, there has to be consequences for this type of action, and that's where we're encouraging, we're asking, we're pleading for the public and for people to have information to come forward and to help us, again, hold somebody accountable for these actions.
Mentioned all the attention this neighborhood was getting. It was a couple blocks away from where the homicide happened earlier this month. Any reason to think these two events were in any way related?
Again, it'd be a little premature, but at this point in time, I do not believe that they would be related. I have nothing to articulate that they would be. But as the commissioner also pointed out, officers were less than 30 seconds. The officers heard a gunfire and responded. Like, there was no 911 call for them to get there. They heard a gunfire, and less than 30 seconds later, from them hearing gunfire, there was cars, there was cruisers on scene, there was officers on the ground right there. So, I mean, we know that there was some issues, there were some issues in that neighborhood, and we're trying to curb that. And again, it's just officers were at the wrong place, wrong time, but it's so close. But again, I think that shows the lack of disregard for public safety and the lack of disregard for essentially a human being when people are just that cavalier and that, you know, flamboyant that they're just going to go out and just open fire on a crowd of people with police officers in marked cars half a block away. So again, I think that just kind of shows and articulates the type of individuals we're dealing with. And again, hopefully the public or anybody that knows something can come forward to help us, because let's face it, if they're this brazen to do it once, I mean, the circumstances could be, you know, another week, another month, another year, they could do it again, and we can unfortunately be standing up here having the exact same conversation.
Bouncing off of what you just said, you mentioned there's the shooting a couple weeks ago just 2 blocks away. A bunch of us were there yesterday. There was a big community cleanup. It scared some people in that neighborhood. You mentioned, has this become a trouble spot? Are you guys kind of focusing efforts in this part of the city? It's historically a trouble spot over in that area?
I don't want to say historically it's a trouble spot. I mean, it has its, I think I talked to somebody the other day, and it has its spikes. Every once in a while, there'll be a nuisance or two, or unfortunately, not to, downplay a shooting as a nuisance, but there'll be a shooting. And then all of a sudden, we'll calm things down. And next thing you know, a couple months, maybe a couple years later, it again becomes a problematic area, or I mean, it might just be a couple individuals that are, have decided they're going to loiter in that specific area. So we knew about it when obviously we had the shooting the other week at 6 in Woodbine. That's why we had the efforts to do the community up there, to do the cleanup, to focus officers' attention up there, put boots on the ground, and or cars, cruisers up there to again make it more visible that there is a police presence up there. And obviously, as it didn't work out. It's profoundly unfortunate, and I don't even know that's the right word, but to have officers that are that close and still somebody acts in this nature is just, for me, it's unfathomable, but it's unthinkable, but it happened.
And the YMCA is right there, there's a playground right there. I mean, is there anything that you guys are looking to do in the immediate term here to protect the children in that area?
We are. We've discussed it, actually. So obviously, that's not something we're going to put forth right now to let everybody know. But you will continue to see an increase in police presence up there. But again, even as last night was a clear illustration of, you had police presence, and this still happened. Officers less than 30 seconds away, and this still happened. So that's where I think it's important to, again, convey the message of, if you know anything, please call, please let us know, because this individual or individuals need to be held accountable. The police presence didn't curb their behavior last night. So the only way that we might be able to curb their behavior is to make sure that they are held accountable for these acts.
What are the people doing outside? Are they just hanging out? And
I won't go into those details.
can you describe how many bullets were fired?
No, not at this point in time. Again, we're too early in the investigation.
You mentioned
Yeah.
individual or individuals, any sense of which way it's going, or whether you think you're looking for one person or more than one person?
I say individuals, but that might be, again, I'm just using that term. Again, so early in this investigation, we don't have the analysis to determine whether it was multiple guns, whether it was single gun. So I use that term, but again, please don't run wild with it. It's just a assumption, or I guess a premature assumption on my part. But last one.
Right now, I know you said these are the individuals we're dealing with, officers half a block away. What would you say to the community right now? Is there an increased reason for people to be aware? What would you say to the community?
I think the incident last night was, I hate to use the term targeted, but obviously I think they knew who they were shooting at or what they were shooting at. I don't think this was just a cavalier, DC shooter where they just, they're walking around just shooting at random people. But again, this behavior, I think we can all agree, this behavior it's not acceptable amongst a civilized population in society. So, that's where I feel as though if you know anything, please, again, contact the police, help us put this puzzle together and get them off the street, because we can't allow people to act like this, to be walking around. I hate to use the term breaks your heart, but I mean, it does. I mean, there's no other way to articulate the fact. I've been on a lot of homicide scenes. The commissioner's been on a lot more than me. And again, when you hear a case of this nature, especially with children in the area and the loss of a 5-month-old, I mean, you can't get any more pure than that. And this is what we're dealing with. So again, it's time for us to get these individuals in custody. So help us.
Are you worried about retaliation?
I wouldn't say that, but I mean, it's always a concern we have, or always a thought we have. But again, we got to deal with the deck of cards we have now, and that's figuring out who did this in the first place and trying to put somebody in custody and or hold them accountable. So I think that's going to be about it. So last one. This is the official last one.
Is it true that the city is cutting down the trees in that area because of the shooting? I'm hearing that the suspects or a group, you're saying that it was more than one person.
Potentially. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, I guess. That's still, again, ongoing investigation part.
Yes. So is it true that the city is currently in that area cutting down the trees in that area next to the corner store?
In reference to that, I'm not sure what Public Works is doing out there. The commissioner says he might know. He says he knows.
Yes, with the information that we were given yesterday and the tracking situation that we had yesterday, I called Public Works and I asked them, could they cut down the bushes up on the next street, Atlas Street, where the vacant Governor Square Apartments is up there, because of how high the grass is. And I'm doing it because maybe the person fled that way and maybe they dropped their gun. So hopefully, we can find a weapon or something like that. That's why they're up there working for us right now, because I asked them to.